Where I like to.
We good? All right, it is now 1:30, Thursday, the 30th day of January. This meeting of the City of Largo Code Enforcement Board is called to order. Please turn off any device that may interrupt this meeting at this time. Thank you, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. It's always fun when we get to do something a little bit special at one of these meetings. So today, the board attorney, Ms. Carrera, is going to be administering the oath on the appointment of our newest board member, Kristen Gersak.
Welcome, Ms. Kristen, to the Largo's Code Enforcement Board. I will be reading this oath and just repeat after me, okay? I, please state your name,
I, Kristen Gersak,
do solemnly swear that I will support and protect
do solemnly swear that I will support and protect
the Constitution of the United States and the state of Florida
the Constitution of the United States and the state of Florida
against all enemies, domestic or foreign,
against all enemies, domestic or foreign,
and that I will bear true faith, loyalty, and alliance to the same.
and that I will bear
That I will bear true faith, loyalty, and alliance to the same.
loyalty, and alliance to the same.
That I'm entitled to hold office under the Constitution.
That I'm entitled to hold office under the Constitution.
That I will faithfully perform all the duties of the office of the Largo Code Enforcement Board,
That I will faithfully perform all the duties of the Largo Community Enforcement Board,
upon which I am about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, welcome. Thank you very much. All right, we have the minutes of the December meeting for approval. Are there any changes to the minutes?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
They're going to be heard next month.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Skipping that. Does the staff have any changes to the agenda today?
Yes, we do. Cases not being heard. CE 2024-00805, Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation as trustee for the benefit of the Seasoned Credit Risk Transfer Trust, Series 2018-1, and Richard T. Cramblett Estate, 12819, 126 Terrace North, Largo, Florida, 33774. Case CER-24-00274, Scott P. Blodgett, Jennifer Blodgett, 2850 Brookfield Drive, Largo, Florida, 33771. Also, we have item number 3, which is CER-24-00044, Lucille Diane Canavan, Emmett E. Wadding, Estate, 1851 Sierra Circle, North Largo, Florida, 33770. And finally, item 1, CE-24-00010, Thomas E. Pennick III, 13025 123rd Avenue, North Largo, Florida, 33774. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so the board will first hear cases in which persons have signed in to accommodate those of you in the audience. And then after those cases are heard, the board will resume with its original agenda in that order. So at this time, anyone who is going to speak today should now stand and be sworn in by our board secretary. Board secretary, please.
Do you swear affirm and tell the truth, so help you? I do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The procedures for presentation of an initial case of violation are as follows. The city will present its case to the board. The board may ask questions of the city staff during their presentation. The alleged violator will present his or her case. The board may ask questions of the alleged violator. The board has the authority to determine the relevance of any evidence or testimony presented. Following presentations by staff and the alleged violator, the board may ask additional questions of the parties and will offer both the city and the alleged violator an opportunity to present a brief closing statement. Following closing statements, I will close the hearing and the board will discuss the case. The board may ask additional questions of the city and the alleged violator. After its discussion, the board will determine what action it will take with regards to the case being heard, and this is typically addressed in the form of a motion. At this time, the board attorney will address the audience regarding who may speak before the board and the procedures for requests for reduction.
Okay, so due to the quasi judicial nature of this hearing, the named respondent on the matter may present testimony, present witnesses, and introduce evidence. Here today, we have two types of respondents. Some are individuals and some are limited liability companies. If you're presenting testimony for a case as an individual respondent, you have to be the respondent him or herself named on the agenda item or the notice of violation, or have some form of authorization notarized by the person authorizing you to speak on their behalf. If you're a respondent for a limited liability company, you have to be the owner of the limited liability company as listed on some bids, or have an authorization form from that owner allowing you to represent them on their behalf. Now we'll go over the request for reduction of fine. So the board is authorized to approve a reduction of fine pursuant to section 972 of the Largo's Code of Ordinance. However, the board cannot reduce a fine below the administrative cost incurred in pursuing and enforcing the code, plus the minimum fee set forth in Appendix B of the Largo Code of Ordinance. The minimum fee for first-time violation is $500, and for repeat violation cases, the minimum fee is $150. $1,500 plus the administrative cost.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we're going to get started. We are going to begin with agenda item number 16, which is case number CE 2024-00432. It is a second order. Victoria Jane Christie, Dennis Hudson, at 814 14th Avenue Northwest, Largo, Florida, 33770. Again, I believe this is a affidavit of non-compliance. Does the city have anything we want to review quickly?
I'm Code Officer Kimberly Barkman with the City of Largo. I can give you a quick overview on this case. This was a property in which had suffered damage from a structural fire. And the respondent, one of the respondents was living in the backyard. So she has yet to come into compliance and was issued the non-compliance order.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I see a couple people here today. Hi, how are you doing? Please state your first, last name and property address.
Victoria Jane Christie, 814 14th Avenue Northwest, Largo, Florida, 33770.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Haley Brown. I'm attorney for Victoria Christie.
Hi, Haley. Thanks for being here. Okay, so this is an affidavit of non-compliance. The property's been found to not be in compliance, but of course, we'd like to hear what you have to say.
Hi, so I'm Haley Brown. I'm from Gulf Coast Legal Services. We are a law firm here in Pinellas County dedicated to assisting vulnerable individuals in the Tampa Bay area. Thank you very much for your time today. I am representing Ms. Christie in Pinellas County case 22-004199-ES. I am actively working to probate her late father's estate to have her interest in the property located at 18 14th Avenue Northwest, Largo, Florida, transferred into her name. We are requesting additional time to have the ownership transferred to her so she may move forward with selling the property to help satisfy these liens. And we need further time to help Ms. Christie realize her interest in the property. So I thank you again for your time.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll look for some conversation from the board here. I mean, you know, our,
Well, this is
It's a second order.
right. So
We can't change anything.
there's not much we can do and except, I guess, draw a conclusion and file a motion, and then we'll see you return at some point for a request for reduction is what that's the practical.
It won't be me. I have a buyer for my house,
Mhm.
like that. He said he's buying it no matter what. So I'm ready to go. I'm just waiting for the court now. I mean,
Okay.
literally, I am ready to sell the house the very next day. I'm just,
But at this point,
But all the-
non-compliant.
But all the violations are still in.
All the violations except for the non-allowable use for living in the backyard, she is no longer on property.
Okay.
nice.
as of December
But she
2nd.
can come before us
Miss,
afterwards and ask for reduction,
Right.
not now,
Right, that's the point.
because
Yeah,
we're
Ms. Miller.
still, it's still not in compliance.
Right, we still have to adjudicate her as a
Exactly.
violator. Right.
Okay. what would you like to say?
And for the respondent, her attorney is the new owner, when that happens, can make a request for a lien waiver. And they will contact Mary Gooch for that. But we do ask, the city asks, if you'll accept the evidence of the affidavit of non-compliance that's displayed before you.
Understood. Okay, thank you very much. I guess what I will say is, you know, at the point of the process that we're in now, the violations were discovered. It was clear that there were violations. The board, you know, made the determination. And now at this point, they're still not in compliance. The facts do remain that. So what we're going to do here is get it on record that that is still the case. I'm very happy for you that you've got someone in your corner
Yeah,
helping
no,
you
I mean,
out.
I literally have done absolutely everything
I
that
remember.
I possibly
I-
can and that you people have asked for.
Yes.
I mean, I just, like, there's nothing I can do right now. It's like I'm hanging on this rope. You know,
So,
I'm in a FEMA motel now. My house sustained more damage because of, you know, the hurricanes and everything. And I was still in my backyard until December 2nd,
well,
when FEMA put me in a hotel.
well, again, like I said, I'm glad you have someone in your corner. It looks like you're working in the right direction, which is, we're very happy about that. So at this point, I'm gonna close the portion of the case here.
I have
Um,
one question.
Okay, sure.
Ms. Christie, when did you obtain counsel?
July.
July.
Thank you.
I
Good.
tried before, but wasn't able to.
Right.
I will say we've been having issues with this case, just it's an irregular probate case from what I've typically dealt with. So this has been a little bit slower than most cases, but we are expecting to have it wrapped up in the next few months. And the hurricanes did cause extra delay just with court closures and our office closures. So we have been working on this. It's just been a little bit of an uphill battle.
Understood. And I'm gonna go ahead and close the portion. I'm gonna look for a motion here first, and then I'll just add one last thing at the end.
I move in case number CE 2024-00432 for the property located at 814 14th Avenue Northwest, Largo, Florida, 33770, to find that the respondent, Victoria Jane Christie, did not correct the violation on or before 12/19/2024, and to accept the affidavit of non-compliance.
I'll second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Mr. Bach and a second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. And just to finalize, the process is as such, right? We determined the timeline. We understand there's a lot of circumstances at hand of the reasoning why you weren't able to come into compliance. The date was set. We're still not in compliance. We understand that you're working towards it. There's a couple options for you after everything gets finalized. I'm sure that your counsel can, help you understand that or walk you through the process, but there could be a potential for reduction if you don't own the property any longer. Like the city presented, there's an option to possibly get a waiver involved when selling the property. So just stay in close contact with the city. We understand that no payment's going to be made right now or anything like that. We understand all of that, but we just have to get everything on the record through this process. So keep it up. Nice work. Thanks for helping out.
Try it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Have a great day.
Can you clear the screen?
Did it twice. It is.
It's getting away.
All right, we are now going to move to agenda item number 20, which is case number CE 2023-01723. Gina Lynn Hunt at 706 16th Street Northwest, Largo, Florida, 33770. This is, I believe, a request for reduction.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Would the city like to present some case history here?
Code Officer Kimberly Barkman, I'll be reading the case history.
Thank you.
The case was opened on September 20th, 2023. Code officers responded to a building without permit. Upon arrival, they observed the violation, and issued a verbal warning. A later reinspection showed the violation had not been corrected and a notice of violation was issued on June 3rd, 2024. Upon reinspection, the code officer found that the violation was not corrected. Due to the continuing violations, the case was set for the July 2024 Code Enforcement Board hearing. First hearing date was July 25th, 2024. The respondent was present at the hearing. The code board found the respondent in violation of the cited city codes with fines starting on November 5th, 2024 if the property was not brought into compliance. Second hearing date was December 5th of 2024. The respondent was present at the hearing. Records showed that the second hearing notice was legally posted on the property. Records also revealed that a copy of the first Code Enforcement Board order and the second hearing notice were mailed certified to the respondent. The Code Enforcement Board, after reviewing the evidence presented, found that the property was not in compliance and ordered a fine of $50 per day to start effective November 5th, 2024. Case was resolved on December 5th, 2024. On December 5th, 2024, a reinspection revealed that the property had come into compliance. The property remained in violation of the code board order for a total of 30 days at $50 per day for a total fine due of $1,500. From September 20th, 2023 to December 5th, 2024, officers conducted 18 re-inspections in an effort to bring the property into compliance. Staff has no objections to the reduction in this case.
Thank you very much. Hello again. Please state your first, last name, and property address.
Gina Hunt, 706 16th Street Northwest, Largo, 33770.
Thank you. Welcome. What would you guys like to say today?
Hi, I'm Gina's sister. I'm speaking for her with her permission. We did everything in a timely manner when we were notified of the non-compliance. There were some issues through our timeline, couple hurricanes, and the city of Largo was having some issues with their portal and changing their system. So it did slow down the process. We actually got, the inspector came right after we left last month's meeting. We went back to her house. He was there and he passed he signed the permit and everything is fine. So we are asking for reduction of fines due to, we did everything as quick as we could when we found out.
Okay, great.
And I did want to say one more thing.
Please.
I read that the minimum fine is 500, but I wondered, are there any exceptions when the homeowner is disabled?
Okay, thank you. I'm not aware of any.
No.
To the attorney.
Not on the mark.
I have a question though. When you got home from last month's meeting and the inspector was there and you got your permit issued, did you contact code board and let them know immediately?
I did.
Okay, okay.
But if they couldn't afford to pay a fine all at once, can they pay it in a timely fashion, monthly or something?
They have up to a year, between 30 days and a year.
Thank you.
And
The
the minimum could be
homeowner-
598.61.
Right.
Yeah, 599 if you want to round it up.
Yeah,
Our hands are tied, you know, you have to rule in some way. And the city, and I think the board is all in agreement with giving you the minimum fine. How much time would you request to get it paid?
At least a year. A year?
A full year for $600?
She's unable to work.
I understand.
you can make payments.
Right.
Very good. Okay, I'm going to close the public portion. Of course, if the board has other questions.
No.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I move in case number CE 2023-01723 for the property located at 706 16th Street Northwest, Largo, Florida 33770, and to accept the affidavit of compliance. The respondent, Gina Lynn Hunt, corrected the violations but did not pay the fine of $1,500 and approved the request for reduction and reducing the fine of $1,500 to $600 inclusive of the administrative costs, and that the needs to be paid within a year or the original amount of this fine will be due.
Second.
okay. I've got a motion by Ms. Marsh and a second by Mr. Bach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Thanks for getting it taken care of. Stay in touch with the city, and if you need to make monthly payments, they can help you coordinate that, all of that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and I just would like to say, the architects, Steve Spencer, it was a pleasure working with the complete city staff and Mr. Butler. Very, very pleasurable.
Thank you.
Thanks for saying that. I don't know if they hear that enough, so
Appreciate it. We're
thank you.
proud of our city.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, it's a great city.
Very good. Good job, city. Thank you for that. Okay, we're now moving to agenda item number 15, which is case number CE 2024-00505. Kevin Guang and Fan Chu at 507 Shore Drive, Largo, Florida 33771. This is a second order, so we have an affidavit of non-compliance. Sorry, let me get it. And,
There was an affidavit of non-compliance as of yesterday. That property came into compliance.
oh, great, okay.
It's displayed on the screen.
So we have a non-compliance and compliance being presented, or we've just,
Oh, yes.
okay.
You'll
both.
see the compliance here in just a second.
Did the board hear that? Everybody hear that?
No, sorry.
Okay, one,
Trying to fix our screens.
no, yeah, I know, we're all getting locked out here.
Yeah.
1 second.
We can't get
Is
back.
the, are both of
Wouldn't it
those
be
in our,
motion- Wouldn't it be motion C instead of being motion B?
Probably because the date changed just yesterday.
Yeah, so it'd be motion C,
okay, one
Correct.
minute here.
right?
Do you know, I've got the non-compliance, is the compliance in our packet here? Probably not,
No,
not yet. Okay, that's fine, but you're presenting it up on the,
correct, sir.
perfect. Okay, I do see some people here to talk today. Please state your first, last name and property address.
My name is Joanne Tong. And then my company is 507 South Drive, Largo, the zip code 33771.
Is that your home address where you live?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what would you like to say?
I asked my sister right here because my English is not too good.
Could you talk into the mic?
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Tina Caton. I am here with Joanne Toe. I'm just speaking on her behalf at her approval due to her language barrier.
Thank you.
So this address, she actually not living there as
Okay.
her primary. She's from Georgia.
Okay. Do we need the home address for the record?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And the spelling of the name, it wasn't signed in. If afterwards, if you can come over here and sign it in,
I
that'll be
think when
fine.
you said the property.
that's okay.
My address live in from Georgia, so 2515 High Brook Trail, Duluth, Georgia, 30097.
Thank you. Excuse me. Can you please be quiet? Thank you. I'm having a hard time hearing. Okay, thank you very much for that. Did you get that, Ms. Gooch? You need to see her afterwards as well?
Yes, I do, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Please go on. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, so this case has been going on for quite some times. And I guess due to the hurricanes that we have, there was a big setback that she was not aware of. And the general contractor that she hired was not in compliance with her, was not communicating with her. So as of December, that's when she came to ask me to communicate with him. And that's when I found out that between August or September all the way into December, there was not much have been done because he kept claiming that there's a new system with the Largo City that he was not able to access into the portal to upload the informations, and it just been kind of snowballing into, the delays.
Okay,
And at one point, I did contact the permit buildings and including Officer Bartman to ask if we can, find another general contractor who will be willing to work on this, and trying to find somebody between the holidays. Until now,
Sure.
we unable to do that. As of yesterday, we got the notice that we had to find another mechanical HVAC company to step in to help him, the original general contractor, to do the works and get the permit done. And when we got the notice yesterday that it was, the permit was approved, I contact the general contractor and ask him if he can call in to get the permit finalized. And finally, at 9:00 PM, he called me and say, okay, I'll get to that. So that was the last communication. So Joanne didn't mean to kept it, this long. It's just the general contractor was not working with us. We're trying to do everything that we can to be in compliance and do it the right way. But when they don't respond, when they don't communicate,
Yep.
it's very hard to do anything. But right now, we have a good, new contractor. If he's still not been able to respond and do what needs to be done from this point on, we have a new person that willing to step in at this point.
good. Okay,
So, whatever from here on. And also, I know that there is a violations and the fine have been issues.
Mhm.
If there's any way that we can, ask to have a reduction, because it really is not her fault. It's more on the general contractor that's not
sure.
working
Okay.
correctly.
I appreciate that.
If we're doing both, there's a total of 15 days that she hasn't paid. The 15 days times the 150 brings us up to 2250. If we go to the minimum, it's 500. But we don't know how much the fees are.
She would have to come
You have
back.
it?
I
Yeah,
have
she'll have to
listed
come
here.
back.
She would have to come back. She needs to fill out the
It's not a
request for
reduction.
reduction.
This is
Yeah,
a
this is a
second
second
order.
order.
She has to come back for the reduction.
So today, we're going to find you in violation, and then you'll have an opportunity to come back to request the reduction.
Okay.
In case you would like to know what those fine amounts would be, going from January 16th, 2025 to January 29th, 25, that would be 13 days at $150 a day. So the total fine would be $1,950.
Plus this,
Plus administrative costs.
administration.
Okay,
May I ask what needs to be done? Do all of these need to be completed?
I believe we have a affidavit of compliance.
You do have an affidavit of compliance. They just needed to have that permit in the issued status
Right.
to be compliant.
Perfect. So they are in
So
compliance
they
as
have
of
to come
last night.
back. Okay.
And
Okay,
she had decided not to continue with the Airbnb, which was one of the violations.
okay,
We're just gonna, list the property
Yeah.
and sell it. So,
okay. Okay, I'm going to close the public portion. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're working towards it. Does the board have any other questions? If not, I'm looking for a motion. And a motion C. Yes, we have both non-compliance and compliance in front of us.
Okay. I move in case number CE 2024-00505 for the property located at 507 Shore Drive, Largo, Florida, 33771. And to find that the respondents corrected the violation but did not pay the fine of $1,950. And to accept an affidavit of compliance, non-compliance.
Can you please amend to add the administrative cost?
Okay, but we don't know how much they are.
Plus.
Yeah.
And also the administration costs to be added to the final fine.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, very good. I've got a motion by Ms. Safrali and a second by Ms. Hoskin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Okay, so please go see Ms. Googe after this, get the address on file, and then they'll instruct you on the process once we get to that next step. You just keep working towards.
Okay, so at this point, what we're not clear is that what do we have to do at this point? That's when we have the,
Yeah, after the meeting, you can get back in touch with Ms. Parkman and she'll walk you right through it. Or Ms. Googe, anyone here in the department can help you with that.
okay,
Okay, thank you for coming in.
all right, thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 5. Agenda item number 5, it is case number CER -24-00126. Augustin Gonzalez and Ruth Gonzalez at 3319 Whispering Drive North, Largo, Florida, 33771. Code Officer Costera.
Good afternoon. Code Officer Costera, Florida Association of Code Enforcement Certified Levels 1, 2, and 3, and I have been sworn in. This is a homesteaded property. On August 7th, 2024, Officer Antonio Costera inspected the property located at 3319 Whispering Drive North pertaining to building without a permit. Inspection of the property revealed that pavers have been installed at the side and rear of the property. At the time of inspection, I met with the homeowner and advised him of the violation. The respondent was instructed to obtain a proper permit detailing the full scope of the work completed and any other future work that may be required in order to bring the property into compliance. On September 6, 2024, I re-inspected the property via check of the permitting database, and no permit application was found. A notice of violation was issued, posted at the property, mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. On September 24th, 2024, I conducted a check of the permitting database and observed that a permit application for the paver patio had been submitted. On October 9th, 2024, I checked the permitting database and observed that the permit had not yet been issued. On October 23rd, 2024, I conducted a check of the permitting database and observed that the permit application had been rejected and the resubmittal was required. On December 3rd, 2024, I conducted a check of the permitting database and observed that the resubmittal of the permit application had not yet been completed. The case was then referred to the Code Enforcement Board. Compliance can only be achieved when the homeowner obtains a proper permit for the work that was completed, including any other future work that may be required in order to bring the property into compliance. The property was posted with a hearing notice on January 15, 2025, mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. Staff recommends giving the respondent until March 3rd, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends that the Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $100 per day beginning on March 4th, 2025. until the property is brought into compliance with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $295,546.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Would you please state your first, last name and property address?
Yes, Agustin Gonzalez, 3319 Whispering Drive North, Largo, Florida.
Thank you very much. What would you like to say today?
I just request more time to resolve this issue. I have a contractor that look like he's not following, and I was here a couple of weeks ago and asked your staff what is needed, and looked like he resubmitted everything that was needed, and they advised me that now I have to wait. So I agree with the getting me more time so I can finish and get the proper permit.
How much more time are you asking for?
Well, the first one suggested until March 3rd, 2025. That will
Is
be
that
enough time.
So a little over a month. I mean,
Yeah.
the work's done. If someone needs to come and,
The resubmittal was done,
Okay.
but they still have until February 4th to do all the reviews. So from my understanding, when I went to permitting this morning, planning, engineering, and one other department still needed to look at it. But they
okay,
have until February 4th to actually look at it. The resubmittal was done recently.
okay. So it's on their desk. They've got a few more days to look at it. There's no reason to believe that a little over a month
Right.
should be long enough time. That's all you're asking for anyway, is a little over a month.
Okay.
I think I understand. Okay,
Yeah, because you got the first is Saturday, so you're losing 2 days on Saturday and Sunday.
okay.
Yeah, give
Um,
them until March.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
very good. I think,
And that, okay,
in the recommended motion.
okay, I'll make the motion.
all right.
I move in case number CER-24-00126 that the respondents Augustin Gonzalez and Ruth N. Gonzalez are in violation of the City of Largo Comprehensive Development Code Section 18.1.1.a for the property located at 3319 Whispering Drive North, Largo, Florida, 33771, and to assess a fine of $100 per day beginning on March 4th, 2025, until the property is brought into compliance with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $295,546, and to order the respondent to contact the Community Standards Division to arrange for a reinspection of the property to verify compliance with this board's order.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Ms. Smith and a second by Mr. Bach. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Good work.
It looks good, actually.
Yeah, it does look good. I agree. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 12. That is case number CE 2024-00239, Cynthia Madonna at 460 Rosary Road Northwest, Largo, Florida 33770. We have Code Officer Barkman again.
The
Hi.
staff attorney, we have just received a notarized affidavit for this gentleman to speak. If you want to review that, please.
And I have the original copy.
Code Officer Kimberly Barkman. I am certified levels 1, 2, and 3 through the Florida Association of Code Enforcement. This is a homesteaded property. On February 26, 2024, I inspected the property. Upon arrival, I observed a wooden structure built in the driveway attached to a tree. I noticed a fence panel on the west side of the property missing, which allowed me to observe junk, trash, and debris in the backyard. There was a bucket, dismantled bikes, wood, scrap wood, damaged TVs, fence panels, ladder, door, PVC piping, tiles, etc. I then noticed that the 2 front windows were broken. I noticed that the unit identifiers for the duplex were spray painted on the property. I walked to Unit A and observed large rolls of possible flooring behind the shrubbery. I observed that the screen door was crooked and not able to close flush. I was then greeted by the complainant and was advised that she had been living there for 8 months. The complainant agreed to move into the unit as she did not have a lease. She advised that a 3-day notice was posted to her door. It appears as if the property owner may be starting the eviction process. I noticed that there were several candles lit as there was no electricity. The complainant advised that it was shut off by the owner. I walked into the kitchen and noticed that there was only one bottom cabinet on the floor under the window. There was no sink or countertops installed. There was a stove in the corner and it did not have any burners. Several of the outlets were missing faceplates. The complainant advised she put wood up to serve as temporary counters until the landlord could redo the kitchen. I then walked to the utility room. There was junk, trash, and debris stored in this room. It had scrap wood, shelving, wood panels, a head and footboard for a bed, boxes, etc. I observed a newly installed hot water heater. It was installed in the area where a clothes dryer would be, and it was very close to the 220 outlet, and there were several exposed wires. There's some newly installed drywall at the bottom of the wall near the hot water heater, as well as some holes in the wall showing exposed wiring. The hall closet was missing doors. Several of the light fixtures were either missing covers or had exposed wiring where the light fixture would be. There was no thermostat control there was no thermostat control or cover over the doorbell, as it appeared that the fire alarm was not operational. I looked in the master bedroom and there were no issues in this room. I opened the door to the bathroom and noticed that there was no ceiling in this room to cover over the light fixture. The hall closet approaching the second bedroom had no doors on it. The door to the back bedroom was not on the hinges. I observed that this room was being used as storage. There was furniture, wood framing, wood pieces, boxes, flooring remnants, etc. I observed that a wooden wall was built in the center of the room. I then exited the unit and noticed several items of junk, trash, and debris to be outside the entrance to Unit B. There were boxes and extension cord, plastic tubs, shelving unit, and wood stair risers. I then spoke with the property owner, Cynthia Madonna, and her boyfriend, Philip Payne, about the observed violations. They confirmed that they let the tenant move in without a lease and that the verbal agreement was as in condition. They indicated that they had been having some issues with the tenants and had started the eviction process. The electricity was turned off for non-payment. I asked to gain access to their side of the duplex, but was refused due to having 2 large protective dogs. I was given permission to discuss the property with Mr. Payne, as he would be doing most of the work, and Cynthia worked an alternate schedule. I discussed this case with Chief Code Officer Miller to see if it would be a property that would be allowed to be yellow tagged. On February 27, 2024, I received a call from Philip Payne. He advised he was starting to remove some of the damaged fence panels and would begin to clean up the junk, trash, and debris. He stated that he called Largo Glass and set up an appointment to have the panes of glass and the jalousie windows replaced. He said he also called C. Lacy Plumbing to set up an appointment to have them come out and check out the hot water heater. I reminded him that any work on the hot water heater needed to be permitted. On February 28th, 2024, I received a call from the complainant stating that the eviction process had started and that she was going down to the courthouse, that she had some questions and that she wanted me to call her back, but her phone number would not accept calls. On March 4th, 2024, the property was posted with notice of violation. It was mailed to the listed property owner via U.S. mail and certified mail and posted in the lobby of City Hall. I did observe that the jalousie windows in the front had been repaired. On April 9th, 2024, I conducted a check of the traffic system and there were no permits applied for. I re-inspected the property and most of the wooden structure by the tree was removed. Portions of the damaged fence were removed and some of the items of junk, trash, and debris had been removed. On April 20th, 2024, I received voicemail from Mr. Payne letting me know that he and Cynthia were going down to the city to see what they needed to do to apply for a repair permit. On April 24th, 2024, I inspected the property. The junk, trash, and debris that was out front had been removed. There was still a portion of fencing on the west side of the property that was leaning. I then spoke with Mr. Payne and inquired about the status of getting permits. He indicated that since the tenants were no longer there, he did not need to fix anything. He was advised that that was not true, that he was told that the remaining violations still needed to be resolved. They were property maintenance issue and building without a permit. He said that they didn't have the money to fix anything and that he did not feel that the city had the right to tell him what to do with the property. He stated that they were thinking of selling. He wanted to know what the next steps were. And I informed him that what would happen if the case goes to code board so that he was aware. This information just seemed to agitate him. I also provided him with information about the Angel Fund that could be used to aid if they qualified. I asked him to speak with Ms. Madonna and get back with me. Later in the day, I did receive a call back from Mr. Payne. He apologized for getting upset and stated that he would talk to Cynthia to see if they would like to participate in the Angel Fund. He stated that he would be going down to permitting to check on the process and to see what exactly needed to be done. On May 1st, 2024, I received a call from Ms. Madonna letting her know that she and Mr. Payne went down to City Hall and that she was assisted in getting the paperwork to fill out for the permit. On May 7th, 2024, I received a call from Mr. Payne advising that he and Cynthia finished up completing the scope of work and the permit application. He advised that he would be going to permitting tomorrow to submit it. On May 13th, 2024, I received a call from Mr. Payne advising that he and Ms. Madonna were working on the permit. He said that it was hard to get down in the office due to Cynthia's work schedule. On May 14th, 2024, I bumped into Ms. Madonna and Mr. Payne while they were outside of City Hall. They advised that they were in the process of working on their permit. On May 2024, I re-inspected the property. Broken fence pieces had been removed. There were now unknown items in the back west corner of the yard that were covered with a blue tarp. I reinstated the junk trash and debris violation. I received a text from Mr. Payne advising that they were going to finish the paperwork tonight in hopes of getting it submitted tomorrow. On June 5th, 2024, I conducted a check of the tracket system and observed that the remodel permit was applied for on 5/22/24. I then re-inspected the property. All junk and trash and debris had been removed and all damaged panels of fencing on the west side had been removed. On June 5th, 2024, I conducted a check of the tracket system. The permit had not been issued, but was ready for pickup. I tried calling the property owner, but the mailbox was full, so I sent a text message asking for her to call me back. On July 1st, 2024, I spoke with Ms. Madonna and Mr. Payne, letting them know that I would need to issue an updated notice of violation due to the new building code. I explained that the permit was ready to be paid for and issued. They were advised this should be done as soon as possible as the permitting office was going to a new software, which could mean that they would have to have the information updated. They were very honest and said that they did not have the money to work on the repairs and would be interested in the Angel Fund. I advised that I would get with my supervisor to let them know if they would be a candidate. On August 26, 2024, I rechecked with my supervisor and she still had not gotten a response from the legal review to see if the property was eligible for the Angel Fund. She did not think that it would be due to the fact that it was a rental property and stated that I should move forward with the case. She indicated she would send another inquiry and she would let me know if there was a change. I reissued and posted to the property an updated notice of violation. It was mailed to the listed property owner via US mail, certified mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. I tried calling Ms. Madonna, but the call would not go through. And so I called and spoke with Mr. Payne. I advised him that the Angel Fund may not be an option and in the interim, he should go to or call the building department to get his permit issued and keep moving forward in the process. I advised him that the city had since gone to new software and that the permit application would need to be updated into the new system. I advised him I needed to get the permit issued to have the work started as the case would be moving forward. Mr. Payne indicated he was working now so that he could afford to have the work done. Mr. Payne provided me with Cynthia's new phone number and I called and left her a voicemail message. On September 30th, 2024, I conducted a check of the Tyler system and there was no information for the permit being migrated over to the new system. On September 23rd, 2024, I was informed by my supervisors that since the property was homesteaded, the Angel Fund could be applied for and used. I called and spoke with Mr. Payne and let him know that I would be dropping off the paperwork for the Angel Fund. I asked if they have the paperwork and required documents filled out by the next week so that I could stop by to pick it up. I let them know that the fund may not cover the entire cost to come into compliance and that they would be responsible for any remaining amount, and they indicated that they understood. On September 30th, 2024, I received a call from Mr. Payne advising that he and Cynthia discussed it further and are now stating that they did not want to participate in the Angel Fund. I advised that the case would be moving forward and that they should get in touch with permitting to get the permit information into the new software system. He indicated he still does not have computer access and will go down to City Hall the next Monday. I let him know staff in permitting could assist him if needed. If there were any problems, he should communicate that with me. On November 13th, 2024, I conducted a check of the Tyler system and there was no permit information in the new system. I tried calling Ms. Madonna and left a voice message. I then tried calling Mr. Payne and there was no answer. His voicemail was not set up. I re-inspected the property and some of the violations that had previously been closed were again present. There was junk, trash, and debris in the front yard. There were items of trash, a lawnmower, yard equipment, PVC fence panels, plastic totes, garbage bags, boxes, and fishing poles. I knocked on the door and was able to speak with Mr. Payne. I again explained the need for the updated information in the new system to be able to move forward in getting the permit issued. He was advised staff is on hand to assist him and that he needed to update the information in the new system to be able to move forward getting the permit. He advised staff, Mr. Payne stated that they decided not to do anything because they do not intend to rent out the other side of the duplex. I again explained that these violations were building without a permit and property maintenance issues, and that they are required to be corrected whether they rent out the property or not. I again asked if he had done anything inside that he wanted to show me so that I could remove those items from the violations, and he said no. I explained that the process moving forward and told him I would call her if the property corrected any violations so that they could be verified. I advised that I would be back for another inspection and that the case would be going to the January Code Board. I called him or Cynthia to see if they had any questions and for them to give me a call. On December 16, 2024, I re-inspected the property and observed there to be several items of junk, trash, and debris in the front and side yards. Not all the windows had screens on them. The front door of Unit A had black tape over a deadbolt lock would be. I knocked on the door and Mr. Payne came outside to speak with me. I advised that I was doing an inspection before preparing the case to go to Code Board and asked if there was anything on the interior that he wanted me to look at so that it could be cleared from the violation list, and he said no. I advised the only violations that were cleared were those of the fence and the screen door. I asked where he was in the process of getting the permit, and he stated he was ready to do the work. I indicated that the permit was not yet issued and asked if he and Cynthia had been to the permitting department. He stated yes, but he wasn't exactly sure what needed to be done. I explained permitting should have told him the next steps, but he still was not sure. And I advised him to check with permitting and asked if he wanted me to join them there to let me know. I then went to permitting and spoke with permit tech Matthew Crowell about the case. He advised that the old permit had recently migrated over. He indicated that the only thing that was still required is for Ms. Madonna to set up an account and to make the payment for the permit. In the meantime, Mr. Payne had left a voicemail message and I returned his call. I provided him with the information and advised that I could meet him in permitting on December 16, 2024, if needed, and he stated he would check with Cynthia and get back to me. Compliance can only be achieved by having the respondent remove all items of junk, trash, and debris from the property. The respondent is to install interior doors for the pantry, closets, and bedrooms. The respondent must install faceplates and protective coverings over all exposed outlets and light fixtures. The respondent is to install insect screens over all windows. The respondent is to obtain the necessary permits to cover the repairs or replacement of the kitchen sink, hot water heater, fire smoke alarm system, mechanical heating system, exposed electrical wiring, holes in the walls and ceilings, and the wall that was built in the bedroom. All permits are to cover the full scope of work to be performed. All permits are to be applied for, issued, and finalized by City of Largo Building Inspector. The property was posted with a hearing notice on January 15, 2025, mailed to listed property owner via U.S. mail and certified mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. Staff recommends giving the respondent until April 30th, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends the Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $150 per day beginning on May 1st, 2025, until the property is brought into compliance, with a fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $280,000. I was at the property today and took photos of what it looks like this morning. And this is junk, trash, and debris in the driveway. Between the two trees where it would not be able to be accessed by a claw truck. Debris on the side of the house. And in front of the house. There are still no screens on the windows. And standing at the door, you could see what the inside currently looks like.
How many units are there?
2.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, sir. Would you please
Good morning.
state your
I mean, good
first,
afternoon.
yeah, first, last name and property address, please?
Philip Matthew Payne, 460 Rosary Road, Northwest Largo.
Okay, thank you. And you have an affidavit for him to be able to speak?
The
We're good?
board council accepts the affidavit to represent.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for being here. What would you like to say?
This lady is the best. She documented every word I was, because I got a full set of memory. She is the best. I finally went over there and I set up an account this morning to apply to get the permit.
Okay,
It's just sitting, waiting for me to pay for it.
okay,
And other than that, the stuff that was in the driveway today is getting donated to Goodwill, and they just haven't picked it up. It's two nice TV stand and an old dresser.
okay.
That's about it.
That's it?
Yep. I
Okay,
plan on doing the work, and we had to sign an affidavit. I think, what was the April date that it runs out? Do you know?
I don't know when it runs.
Well, it must be the 30th because you have the fine
Okay,
to start
on
on May
April
1st.
30th, we haven't, it's not a rental, but I'm not even going into the story. I helped some people out. But on April 30th, it will be done by then.
okay.
And that's all I'm saying. You know,
Fantastic.
it's very minor stuff. Of course, the cleanup, it's mainly the outside that I can't afford to put the fence up, so it's gonna stay as is.
No, it's not.
And that's about it.
The fence violation was removed. You don't have to have a fence and you took down the damaged portions, so that
Right,
the
okay,
fence is
well,
fine.
okay. I still want to put a fence up, whenever I can. But anyway, that's it. I'm just gonna go pay for the permit and I'll bring it right back over here.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate that. If that's it on your part, I'm going to close the public portion. Are there any questions from the
Yeah, I
board?
do.
Yeah, please.
Has life safety be called on this property or the fire marshal? I mean, the interior, the electrical, you should have fire marshal check that out. I mean, I'm looking at wires that are all over. I'm looking at a hot water heater that's not,
There's no
Why-
power to the.
I don't care.
Okay,
The wires there are wrong. You should have called fire marshal in on this property. How do you know what the other property looks like if this one's so bad? You don't
I wasn't
know.
allowed access. so
That's
no.
why life safety and fire marshal should be called in on this property. It's been going on too long. He's been procrastinating too long. And even April, he will not be done by April. I'll guarantee you.
you can't guarantee something that you don't know.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I
predicted.
know.
I
I'm
wish
a
I could
landlord
predict the
too.
future, but I
Yeah,
can't do it
yeah.
either.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sufferly. Any other questions from the board?
Nope, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I move in case number CE 2024-00239 to find the respondent Cynthia J. Madonna in violation of the City of Largo Code of Ordinances, Section 11-47, and City of Largo Comprehensive Development Code Sections 18.2.5.d4, 18.2.7.a, subsection 2, 18.2.7.e, subsection 1, 18.2.7.e.4, 18.2.d8.d, subsection 3, 18.2.9.d, subsection 1, 18.1.1.a, 18.2.5.d, 18.2.5.c13, 18.2.1.b, 18.2.2 subsection b, 18.2.4.f subsection 1b, 18.2.8.b subsection 3, and 18.2.8.c subsection 1 for the property located at 460 Rosary Road, Largo, Florida, 33770, and to assess a fine of $150 per day beginning on May 1st, 2025, until compliance is achieved, with the fine not exceeding the just market value of $280,000, and to order the respondent to contact the Community Standards Division to arrange for a reinspection of the property to verify compliance with this board's order.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job. I've got a motion by Ms. Smith and a second by Ms. Marsh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes.
Do I bring that back over or will it be in the computer? I'll hand it back.
But yeah,
be in the computer.
yeah, contact Mr. Butler. All right, thank you for coming in. Good luck. Nice work, Ms. Smith. Take a
I saw that it was going to be a, right.
Okay, I am looking at agenda item number 10, I believe. Thank you. It is case number CER-24-01277. Ryan Jaron and Melissa Jaron. We have Code Officer Costera. Are we on first order still? Okay, it is a first order. Please, sir. Thank you.
Officer Antonio Costera, Florida Association of Code Enforcement Certified Levels 1, 2, and 3, and I have been sworn in. This property since come into compliance with an affidavit of compliance being issued. This is just to establish repeat status for any new violations on the property.
Okay.
This is a homesteaded property. On December 13th, 2024, Code Officer Antonio Costera inspected the property located at 725 First Avenue Northeast for violations pertaining to inoperable vehicles and parking of certain types of vehicles. Upon the initial inspection of the property, I observed that there was an inoperable vehicle parked in the driveway of the property. Vehicle was not properly tagged. Also, there was an inoperable trailer parked on the front yard of the property on an unimproved surface and at the northeast side of the corner of the property, which is not allowed. A notice of violation was issued to the respondents, posted on the property, mailed to the listed property owners via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. On December 30th, 2024, I re-inspected the property and observed that the inoperable vehicle when parked in the drive had been removed and the inoperable trailer continued to be parked in the unallowable location on the property. Compliance can only be achieved when the respondents make the trailer operable by properly tagging the trailer and moving the trailer to an approved location on the property. Inoperable vehicles may also be stored in an enclosed structure so as not to be seen from the roadway or removed from the property. The property was posted with a hearing notice on January 15th, 2025, mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. Staff recommends giving the respondents until February 27th, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $50 per day beginning on February 28th, 2025 until the property is brought into compliance, with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $185,829.
Okay, thank you. And I probably missed it. Do we have an affidavit of
Yes,
compliance?
we do.
Okay, and it was shown on the.
So
On the
we're
screen
just
there.
putting this on the record, but
Just on the
it'll be,
record for
but the
future
due
violence.
date and all that'll be moved by the time we get there.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that won't even need to be read, but okay. Hello there. Would you please state your first, last name and property address?
I'm Melissa Jaron, and it's 725 First Avenue Northeast, Largo, Florida, 33770.
Okay, it sounds like you've been brought into compliance. What would you like to say today?
Before he came out on the 30th, I had also tried to come in compliance before that. And when we read over the affidavit that we were originally given, it was told us to put pavers down for the trailer, which I had put on the corner lot, but I did not know the circumstances of a corner lot. And when I asked the officer, we have not had great exchanges. So I have since asked that he be removed and deal with somebody else. And I believe that's the gentleman in the blue. He came out to my property, showed me where I could put the trailer with the pavers. I showed him all tags were up to date. I've also tried to show this to the officer beforehand that I had the tags, that we have had multiple tags stolen off of the cars and the trailers. That's why they were not on there, or the stickers were not on there. I wanted to present him with registrations and the tags, and he wanted no part of it, so it's kind of been a little bit of a rough process for me.
All right. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna close the public portion then. Does the board have any questions of the respondent for the city? Sure.
Had you reported the stolen tags and everything to the police department?
Yes, they have been.
Mr. Brock, so there's a little bit of clarification here. She was asked to provide those police reports, which she did not. When she told me that she had the registrations for the vehicles inside the vehicles, I requested to go over there. She could show me that, and she said she was too busy with her children and she could not. And this happened several times.
Thank you.
So are we making the motion just for the record?
Yeah, so I believe it's going to, let me open it up.
Well, the fine wouldn't start until February 28th, and the affidavit of compliance will be on the record prior to that.
So
So
basically,
Right.
I'm looking for a motion that says that the respondent was found in violation,
But corrected violation.
but corrected in time, and we need to accept the affidavit of compliance. I don't believe there's anything that needs to be referenced regarding fees,
Okay.
dates,
Okay.
anything of that matter, if I'm correct. Am I, Scooch? No?
No.
I'm correct in that?
You're correct.
Okay, okay. So I am looking for a motion from someone who's,
So we basically just, as though it's a affidavit of compliance?
more or less, we need to find that the respondent was in violation, right? So we're going to.
Motion A.
That's what I thought. That
Okay.
looks plain and simple. All right. I move in case number CER 24-01227 for the property located at 725 First Avenue Northeast, Largo, Florida, 33770, to find that the respondents, Brian C. Jaron and Melissa A. Jaron, were in violation but have come into compliance as of today's date for correcting their violation, and the board moves to accept their affidavit of that affidavit of compliance.
Great.
Was
For a
that a little
second?
clumsy?
Is there a second on that? Okay, I've got a motion by Ms. Smith and a second by Ms. Soffarelli. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thanks for coming in compliance. There's no fines or anything like that since you rectified the issue.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 17, case number CE 2024-00765. Hellier Morales and Eileen Castillo Morales at 795 Corvette Drive, Largo, Florida, 33771. In second order, would you like to give us any brief overview on this?
Yeah, this was a case that started over a couple of sheds that were placed on the property and a gazebo that was constructed without a permit. The shed situation has been resolved. The only issue we have now is the gazebo, and it's a permitting issue. The permit's been applied for, but not yet issued.
So still not in compliance, but working towards it. Okay, hello, would you please state your first, last name and property address?
Kelly Morales, 795 Corvette Drive, Largo, Florida, 33771.
Aileen Castillo, 795 Corbett Drive, Largo, Florida, 33771.
Okay, thank you. So we do have a second order in front of us here, but you guys came in, what would you like to say today?
We are doing everything. I'm waiting on the review. I'm in review for the gazebo. So I don't know, it's taking too long. I know the guys are busy, maybe with what happened with the storm. I don't know. It's taking too long, but we are doing it. I'm following instructions, everything.
Okay. City has
They,
something else
they
to add?
applied for the permit January 16th, so that was very recent.
It just hasn't been issued yet.
No, it still hasn't even gone through its full review process.
Okay. That customary timeline for that?
Well, that's not like, it's not like a shed permit. There's more to it than that.
Okay.
And so for it to have just been applied for, it's reasonable to expect that it could take a couple of weeks or more, providing if everything was submitted at the time.
Okay.
And if there's resubmissions requested, that
Sure.
they're done in a timely manner. Right.
Okay. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna close the public portion. It is a second order in front of us. Of course, the board is open to ask questions if you wish, or I'm looking for a motion.
I can make.
Does the city have any photos?
The original photos from the case,
I'm sorry, if it's cumbersome to find them, it's all right.
I didn't bring the folder for
I was just-
765. I can go get it.
So there are.
No, that's all right. I was just trying to picture in my head the complexity of the gazebo, how big a structure it is.
It's your standard box gazebo. It's pretty hefty,
10 by 10 or something?
pretty much 10 by 12 in
Okay.
that area.
Right.
I would say 6-inch aluminum type posts.
Gotcha.
It's pretty sturdy,
Okay,
but it's unpermitted.
yeah, okay.
Anything else? If not, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll move in case number CE 2024-00765 for the property located at 795 Corvette Drive, Largo, Florida 33771. To find the respondents, Helier and Aileen Morales did not correct the affidavits on or before.
Correct the violations.
Did correct?
No, did not correct.
Did not
the-
correct.
Sorry, I
the
misheard. that.
Violations on or before January 21st.
21st.
Okay, and to accept the affidavit of non-compliance.
I'll second. Second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Ms. Marsh and a second by Ms. Hoskin, I believe. Thank you. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Keep working towards it. Once you get it, let them know right away. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Ms. Goods, did you say,
19.
I believe 19 is next. There's no one else to speak with the case.
there's no one else signed in at this point to
Nope.
speak?
Yes.
No one else other than.
Number
here for
19.
Case number 19, got it. Catching up here. Okay, very good. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure he will. Okay, so we have agenda item number 19, case number CE 2024-00717. Ernest W. Bach at 700 Starkey Road, number 365, Largo, Florida 33771. We're here for a request for reduction. Do we want to read in any history? Thank you so much.
Before,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Bug is a member of the board. As we know, there is a direct conflict as he's also the respondent in this matter. He's filled out Form AB for the conflict of interest, and just to stay that on the record.
So we're not going to let him vote on his own case.
We are not letting him vote or discuss.
Wouldn't like to vote on his own case. Okay, very good. Ms. Barkman.
Code Officer Barkman reading the case history for E CE 2024-00717 at 700 Starkey Road, number 365. The case was opened on June 10th, 2024. Code officers responded to a complaint of an inoperable vehicle. Upon arrival, they observed the violation and a verbal notice was given. A later reinspection showed that the violation had not been corrected and a notice of violation was issued on July 16th, 2024. Upon reinspection, the code officer found that the violation was not corrected. Due to the continuing violations, the case was set for the August 2024 Code Enforcement Board hearing. The first hearing date was August 29th, 2024. The respondent was present at the hearing. The code board found the respondent in violation of the cited city code with fines starting on October 25th, 2024, if the property was not brought into compliance. The second hearing date was December 5th, 2024. The respondent was present at the hearing. Record shows that the second hearing notice was legally posted on the property. Records also reveal that the copy of the first code enforcement board order and the second hearing notice were mailed certified to the respondent. The code enforcement board, after reviewing the evidence presented, found that the property was not in compliance and ordered a fine of $50 per day to start effective October 25th, 2024. The case was resolved on December 10th, 2024. On December 10th, 2024, a re-inspection revealed that the property had come into compliance. The property remained in violation of the code board order for a total of 46 days at $50 per day for a total fine due of $2,300. From June 10th, 2024 to December 10th, 2024, officers conducted 9 re-inspections in an effort to bring the property in compliance. Staff has no objections to a reduction in this case.
Thank you very much. Mr. Buck, hello, sir. Got it taken care of finally.
For all intents and purposes, yes, it is.
Okay. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
All I can do is
Excuse me one
reiterate what I
second.
said at the last.
I apologize. I skipped over something. Please state your first,
Ernest
last
Bach.
name and property address.
Ernest Bach, 700 Starkey Road, Largo, Florida, 33771. And all I can do is reiterate what I said at the last hearing. I've been giving this due diligence in a timely manner and attempting to get that engine replaced in that car. And unfortunately, when we got to hurricane season, that affected me also, as I mentioned previously. I'm requesting at this point in time a reduction in the fine, and I would also request a time period extension to do so. If it's necessary, I can tell you why financially that would be a necessity for me at this time.
Well, how long would you need? Right.
I need as long as possible. My homeowners association fees in December and this month went up $1,700 a month,
Extra.
Okay.
which is a lot of money, which is actually more than my income.
Ernie, would 6 months be enough or?
I would look for I will take care of it as soon as possible,
Right.
obviously, but I would ask for the maximum extension.
For the full 12?
Because I'm still paying for damages from the hurricanes also.
Well, if you go down to the minimum, it's $202.77.
Well, isn't the minimum
500.
Minimum's 500.
It'll be 553.
Yeah, 553.
Yeah, it'll be 553
Sure.
or 552 and
Yeah,
some change, 553 if we round it up.
Yeah.
I need the extra change.
Right. All right, 552.77 is what.
It's tough getting
Okay,
a
I'm
job
gonna
at
close the public
88.
portion. Thank you, Mr. Bach. Of course, the board, if we have any other questions, please feel free. Otherwise, looking for a motion.
Would we say 365 days, 360 days?
That's what I was gonna ask. We left that alone last time.
Last time we just said 1 year.
Yes.
Is 1 year, the verbiage of 1 year,
When you
okay?
say 1 calendar year, I put the information in and it gives me the yearly figure and that's the date I use.
Okay, 1 calendar year.
So that works for you. Okay, thank you. Don't be shy.
I move in case number CE 2024-00717 for the property located at 700 Starkey Road, number 365 in Largo, Florida, 33771, to accept the affidavit of compliance. The respondent, Ernest Bach, corrected violations but did not pay the fine of $2,300, and to approve the request for reduction, reduce the fine of $2,300 to $553 inclusive of the administration fees, and order the respondent to pay the reduced fine of $553 within 1 calendar year. And if it's not paid within that time, the original fine will be due.
I'll second that.
Great. I've got a motion by Ms. Marsh and a second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you for your consideration.
All right. Very good. I believe that is everyone that is signed in. So we're going to move to the order of the agenda, looking for the consent docket.
The respondents in the following cases came into compliance by the date ordered by the board. There are no fines due. Request the board to accept the affidavits of compliance. KCE 2024-00570, Alan Sue, 10482, 124th Terrace, Largo, Florida, 33773. KCE 2024-00808, Rogue Investment Properties LLC, 613 First Avenue Northeast, Largo, Florida, 33770.
Okay, looking for a motion.
I'll make it.
Okay, go for it.
I move to approve the consent document as amended and including staff background as provided in the code enforcement board packets.
I
Will you
believe-
amend that to approve the consent docket?
Yeah, just look at the one above that. I don't believe there were any amendments on this one.
Oh, all right,
Sorry to interrupt your motion there.
all right. I move to approve the consent document,
Docket.
excuse me, consent docket as provided in the code enforcement board packet
Without board discussion.
without board discussion.
I'll second.
Okay. I've got a motion by Ms. Hoskin and a second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for doing that. Checking my agenda. I believe we're agenda item number 4.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Case number CE 2024-00051. Darko Novakic, 2206 Fulton Way, Largo, Florida, 33774. Let me get my document up here. Code Officer McMillan. Yeah, no.
It is Code Officer McMillan. He's not here today, so I'm standing in.
Thank you. Okay.
We're not being here today.
Let me pull this up real quick.
I don't have it on mine.
You don't?
Mine
Mm, I
was-
jumped
Page
from-
5?
I jumped from 3 to 5.
I have it on mine.
I got it on mine.
I can't get mine back on again.
Who's missing
Here
it?
I'm missing
Ms.
it.
Smith doesn't
on
have
the
it on hers,
screen.
on the agenda,
It-
or I mean, on the iPad.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Mr. Rink.
Okay. This is not a homesteaded property. On January 18th, 2024, Code Officer McMullen inspected the property for code violations where it was observed to have a large Winnebago recreational vehicle which exceeds the maximum allowable weight limit of 11,000 pounds parked in the front yard and is not on an approved surface. He also observed drywall, sheetrock, and other interior construction items in the backyard in plain view. He also observed a garage conversion work and interior remodeling work being done. Further research revealed that there were no permits to approve the work being done. On January 19th, 2024, Code Officer Kimberly Barkman arrived at the property to post a stop work order and a notice of violation on his behalf, where she observed that interior construction work was being done, and after being a brief conversation with the workers inside the property, Officer Barkman advised them that they do not have an issue permits to allow for the work to be done and that they would have to stop working, and they immediately started to clean up and to leave. An email was provided to Officer Barkman, which was the job foreman at USA Florida Realty Solutions at gmail.com. The owner of the RV arrived at the property where he advised Officer Barkman that he was given permission to park this on the property while he was there visiting from Ireland. He shortly thereafter removed the RV from the property. On February 2nd, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected the property where there has not been any permits issued or submitted into the system at this time. On April 24th, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected the property where a remodel permit PCP 2404-0542 was entered in the Trackit system. On June 28, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected the property and the permit was applied for but was not issued. An email was sent to the contractor for the status of the project. On November 26, 2024, Officer McMillan inspected this property for violations pertaining to health and safety concerns regarding the condition of the swimming pool, which has a green water, and a recent rental guest having concerns about the property being rentable in the unsafe condition it was in. Research revealed that the remodel permit BCP 2404-0542 was never issued or finalized by the City of Largo building inspectors. Further research also revealed this property failed to complete their life safety inspections as a short-term rental property with the fire department from 2023 and 2024. A scheduled inspection with the Largo Fire Department on October 23rd, 2023 was a failed inspection. A fire department inspection on November 19th, 2020 found no one there for the inspection. This property is operating as a short-term vacation rental, is in violation of the City of Largo ordinances. On November 27, 2024, Officer re-inspected the property and reissued a notice of violation with the current 2023 Florida Building Code and the unpermitted work that was done and the violations associated with the short-term vacation rental. On December 14th, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected the property and there's not been any contact from the property owner or representative. And the property is still actively listed on vacation rental sites as available. Officer McMillan is referring this case to the Code Enforcement Board. Compliance can only be achieved by issuance of proper permitting and a finalization of the permit by a City of Largo building inspector, and the short-term vacation rental must be removed from all vacation rental sites until the building code violations have been completed. Passing of a required fire inspection and to notify the Community Standards Division for reinspection to verify compliance. The property was posted with the hearing notice on January 15th, 2025 and mailed to the listed property owner by regular mail, certified mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. Staff recommends giving respondents Novakovic Darko until February 13th, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends the Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $250 per day beginning on February 14th, 2025 until the property is brought into compliance, with the fine not exceeding the just market value established by the Pinellas County property appraisers of $347,993.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the chambers to speak to this case? Not seeing anyone. Thank you very much. Any questions for the board?
No.
Looking for the motion.
I move in case number CE 2024-00051 to find the respondent, Darko Nowakovic, is in violation of the City of Largo Comprehensive Development Code sections 18.1.1.a, 15.18.e, 15.18.b subsection 4, 15.8.b subsection 3, 15.18.b subsection 1, 18.2.e subsection 1, 18.2.5.d, and the City of Largo Code of Ordinances, Section 11-21, for the property located at 2206 Fulton Way, Largo, Florida, 33774, and to assess a fine of $250 per day beginning on February 14th, 2025, until compliance is achieved, with the fine not exceeding the just market value of $347,993, and to order the respondent to contact the Community Standards Division to arrange for a reinspection of the property to verify compliance with the board's order.
Second.
Okay, great. I've got a motion by Ms. Smith and a second by Mr. Bonk. We definitely still have a quorum here. I will take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, but please note that Ms. Zaffarelli stepped away and was not a part of that vote. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Agenda item number 7, case number CER-24-00972, Timothy J. Graves at 7836 Powderhorn Circle, Largo, Florida 33773. Is Code Officer Costera.
Officer Costera, face certified levels 1, 2, and 3, and I've been sworn in. This is another case that's come into compliance prior to hearing.
Okay, great. Love that.
This is a homestead property. On October 22nd, 2024, Officer Antonio Costera inspected the property located at 7836 Powderhorn Circle for violations pertaining to parking of certain vehicles, building without a permit, and unallowable use. Inspection of the property revealed that there's a large camper parked at the side of the home and within the frontal setback of the home. The camper is encroaching on the neighboring property due to its size and is also parked on an unimproved surface. A knock on the camper door was answered by a female occupant who stated that she was the homeowner's daughter and that she resides in the camper. The camper resident was advised that residing in a camper within city limits is prohibited by ordinance and is an unallowable use of the vehicle. Further inspection of the property revealed that the camper does not have a proper tag, deeming it inoperable. Plumbing and electrical have also been added to the camper without a proper permit. A 7-day courtesy door hanger detailing the violation was left at the property along with my information. On November 7th, 2024, I re-inspected the property and observed that the violations had not been corrected. The neighboring property owner has installed a fence, which in turn blocked the entrance to the camper. Inspection also revealed that a window at the front of the camper had been removed and there is a ladder placed at the opening. Notice of violation was issued to the respondent, posted on the property, mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. On December 6th, 2024, I re-inspected the property and observed that the violations had not been correct. Case is referred to the Code Enforcement Board. Compliance can only be achieved when the respondent removes the camper from the property. If the camper is to remain on the property, it must be made operable, properly tagged, and in working order, must have the plumbing that connects it to the home's utilities removed, must not be used as a residence within city limits, and must be parked in an appropriate manner that accounts for setbacks and property line requirements. The property was posted with a hearing notice on January 15th, 2025, mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. Staff recommends giving the respondent until March 3rd, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends the Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $100 per day beginning on March 4th, 2025. Until the property is brought into compliance with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $248,212.
Thank you very much. You said that it is in compliance and we.
Compliance, we're just trying to establish,
Did they remove the camper?
yes, it's gone.
Nice. And did we see the affidavit of compliance? I'm sorry.
I have a question of the city that's not
There.
related to this case,
Well,
but,
1 second, please.
okay, I'll wait.
There it is.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I'm looking in the chambers for anyone to speak to this case. I'm seeing no one. I am looking for a motion. Can we stick to this case and hold your
Yes,
question?
thank you. Yeah.
Looking for a motion, probably a motion A again.
I'll make a motion.
Is that right, Ms. Gooch?
Yes.
The
Please.
staff hasn't recommended.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yes, but
Be like a combination, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. I move in case number CER-24-00972,
for the property located at 7836 Powderhorn Circle, Largo, Florida, 33773, to find that the respondent Timothy J. Graves was in violation. However, he's come into compliance for correcting the violation and to accept the affidavit of compliance.
Second.
Great job. I have a motion by Ms. Gerzak and a second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks for your first motion there, Ms. Gerzak.
Yes.
Ms. Smith, did you have a question?
Yes, just that I know that some of the people that were displaced from their homes because of the hurricanes have parked campers in the front yard.
This was not the case.
No, I know that, not in this case, but is there some exemption for those? Are they applying for some kind of
Yes.
special permit? I was just curious how that works.
Yes, the state
The
gave
government
recommendations on that.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Perfect. Okay, very good. Thank you. Good question. Agenda item number 8, case number CER-24-000974. Julia Dautrina at 118 Huntington Drive, Largo, Florida, 33771. Code Officer Costera.
Officer Costera, face certified, levels 1, 2, and 3, and I have been sworn in today. This is a homestead property. On October 23rd, 2024, Officer Antonio Costera inspected the property located at 118 Huntington Drive for violations pertaining to maintenance of pool and a fence. Inspection of the property revealed that a portion of the fence at the rear of the property had detached itself from the support post and was lying flat on the ground of the neighboring property. It was also observed that the swimming pool at the property appeared to be in poor condition, showing signs of lack of maintenance with green water and algae growth. Pictures of the violations were taken and a courtesy door hanger detailing the violations along with my contact information was left at the property. On November 8th, 2024, I re-inspected the property and observed that the fence panels were improperly attached to the post and the swimming pool violation had not been addressed. A notice of violation was issued, posted at the property, mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. On December 9th, 2024, I re-inspected the property and observed that the violations on the property had not been addressed. The case was referred to the Code Enforcement Board. Compliance can only be achieved when the respondent properly repairs the fence by securing the detached fence panels to the support post. The respondent must also ensure that the pool is clean and properly maintained at all times. The property was posted with a hearing notice on January 15th, 2025. That was mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. Staff recommends giving the respondent until March 3rd, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends the Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $100 per day beginning on March 4th, 2025, until the property is brought into compliance with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $362,200. Photos were taken this morning and I inspected the fence area. This shows the fence panel, or portion of the fence panel was raised and attached, but there's no post behind it. There's nothing anchoring it. Conversation with one of the neighbors from where I took this photo is an apartment complex, and they allowed access to the back. So someone in the apartment complex put up the fence in a manner that they could to keep children from going in that yard because there's a pool there and the pool's poorly maintained.
You wouldn't see them if they fell in that pool.
No.
No.
An animal or a person.
Right.
So
Has the homeowner contacted you? Have you been in touch? I'm sorry. if
when
might
I
not have-
first opened the case, I did get a phone call from a young lady who identified herself as the daughter. I explained to her what the violations were, and I never heard from her again.
Okay.
And I've been out there several times, so.
Yeah.
Is this pool considered secured?
Um,
The fence was down.
Not unless, like, if the fence is to blow down, yes. I mean, it's up, the panels are up. technically, there's no access to the pool. But it's rickety. It's not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Any type of force
Yeah.
would bring that fence
Child
panel
could
down.
knock that fence down.
Yeah, it's still-
This is the condition of
And
the
you wouldn't
pool at
even
this
know they
time.
were in that pool.
Right.
You wouldn't even
So
know.
giving them until March, I mean, that's a long time.
Your decision, man.
Mhm. Okay, very good. I see the updated photos. Was that it?
Yep.
From you? Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm checking the audience to see if there's anyone here to speak to this case. I'm seeing no one. There's no further questions from the board. I'm looking for a motion.
I move in case number CER 24-00974 to find respondent Julia Dorina in violation of the City of Largo Code of Ordinances, sections 11-21 and the Comprehensive Development Code, sections 18.2.5B6 for the property located at 118 Huntington Drive, Largo, Florida 33771, and to assess the fine of $100 per day, beginning on
March 4th.
well, I'd like to say earlier than that, but that's
Yeah.
all the way it is.
Yeah, I thought February 20th or something.
Yeah, February 20th would be good. By February 20, until the property is brought into compliance with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $362,626, and to order the respondent to contact the Community Standards Division to arrange for reinspection of this property to verify compliance with the board's order.
I have two concerns. I'd like to specify that that's 2025, that February 20th date
Yes.
for 2025. And is there a discrepancy in the just market value of the property? Is it 362,200?
No, ma'am, it's,
Written in words are different.
Yeah, the words and the
Words
numbers are different. We want to make sure we're accurate.
$362,626.
Okay,
I read the right.
you read it correctly. Thank you.
Okay, I have a completed motion. I'm looking for a second. Thank you very much. I've got a motion by Ms. Marsh and a second by Mr. Bach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Did you catch those dates, Ms. Gooch?
That was February 20th.
Yes, ma'am. For fines to begin.
2025.
Yeah,
Yes.
fines to begin on the 20th. Thank you.
Love to put it. for
fines to begin on the 21st
I
or the
believe it was
20th.
20 is a Thursday, is that okay?
Compliance is the 20th. The fine would start the next day,
I
right?
apologize.
21st, yes.
I
And
apologize.
to confirm you went $100 per day.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Sorry for the confusion. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Agenda item number 9, case number CER -24-01234, Value Vision Homes LLC, 1864 Paradise Lane, Largo, Florida 33756. Mr. Costera again, please.
Officer Antonio Casera, face certified levels 1, 2, and 3, and I have been sworn in. This is not a homestead property. On November 21st, 2024, Officer Antonio Casera inspected the property located at 1864 Paradise Lane for violations pertaining to building without a permit. Inspection of the property revealed that a remodel of the interior of the structure was ongoing. The work at the interior of the property appeared to include electrical, plumbing, and structural components. The initial inspection was also revealed that structural components of the roof at the rear of the property had been repaired. Portions of the roof soffit were also found to be in disrepair. A check of the permitting database revealed that no permits were issued for work at this location. 2 male individuals were found at the location doing cleanup work and loading a non-City of Largo dumpster on behalf of the homeowner. The workers were instructed to discontinue all work, and a stop work order was issued and posted on the property. I then requested that the workers have the homeowner contact Officer Costera as soon as possible. Contact information was provided to the workers who vacated the property shortly after. On this date, the respondent contacted Code Officer Costera via phone. The respondent was advised of the violations and instructed to obtain the proper permits required for the work that was completed and any other work that may be required in order to bring the property into compliance. The respondent stated that all work had been discontinued and that a permit application would be subsequently submitted. On December 12th, 2024, I re-inspected the property and observed that the stop work order had been ignored and additional work had been completed at the property. New windows and a sliding door were installed, a new support beam and columns were installed in the front porch area, and the roof soffit had been repaired. Also, a new air conditioning unit had been installed. All work has been completed without the issuance of proper permits. Additional research revealed that additional living space has been added to the structure. A check of the permitting database revealed that a permit application for an addition was submitted in 2019 and later abandoned. The permit was issued for the added living space that was constructed. No permit was issued for the added living space that was constructed. Inspection of the property also revealed that the structure's garage door is in disrepair and not properly secured. On this date, a notice of violation was issued to the respondent, posted at the property, mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. On December 23rd, 2024, I re-inspected the property via check of the permitting database and determined that the respondent has made no attempts to bring the property into compliance. The case was then referred to the Code Enforcement Board. Compliance can only be achieved when the respondent, through the use of licensed contractor, obtained the proper permits required for all work completed, including the construction of the additional space that was constructed. Permit applications must also list all additional work that may be required in order to bring the property into compliance. Issued permits must be finalized by passing a final inspection conducted by a building official, inspector where applicable. On January 15, 2025, the property was posted with a notice of hearing that was also mailed to the listed property owner via certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. Staff recommends giving the respondent until February 3rd, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $250 per day per violation beginning on February 4th, 2025 until the property is brought into compliance. With the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $236,812.
Thank you.
It's only like 3 or 4 days we're giving them.
Yeah.
I'll make a
Is
motion.
that it? No
This
updates
was-
or anything?
Yeah, this was pretty egregious because
Yes.
the gentleman actually called me when I opened the case and we discussed the stop work and he said he was going to do whatever he needed to do to get into compliance. And then when I went for reinspection, the remodel was
Right.
almost done. When I did the research and I found out that there was an addition that had been constructed, I saw that there was permit applied for, but it was abandoned back in 2019.
They just
So now he has to apply for a permit also for that addition. The little bit that I saw in the permitting database, he did apply for a permit for the remodel, but there's nothing in there for the addition.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Costera. I'm gonna quickly.
I have an question for
Sure.
Officer Casera. Does this look like it's an expansion of the living facility or potentially a short-term rental being built on there?
I wouldn't know, Mr. Bach. This is, I go
is
by the
there any-
information
is
that
there
I
any-
have.
Is there any kind of division between?
Negative. This portion of the property is attached to the original portion of the property. I can only,
residential area?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm looking to the chambers to see if there's anyone to speak to this case, and I'm seeing no one at this time.
Moving case number CER 24-01234 to find the respondent Value Vision LLC in violation of the City of Largo Comprehensive Development Code sections 18.2.5.c and 18.1.1.a for the property located at 1864 Paradise Lane, Clearwater, Florida, 33756, and to assess a fine of $250 per day per violation beginning on February 4th, 2025, until the property is brought into compliance with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $236,812, and to order the respondent to contact the Community Standards Division to arrange for reinspection of the property to verify compliance with the board's order.
I'll second.
We
Okay.
have a correction on.
Yeah,
Respondents.
Oh,
Yes, there's a bit of a discrepancy.
oh,
I see one Value Vision LLC, and then on the agenda, I see a Value Vision Homes LLC. Not sure if a clarification is required on
good
that.
catch.
I'm gonna hold the vote at this time.
Let me look at the property.
I thought I had it in here.
It's according to the property appraiser, Value Vision Homes LLC, just like the agenda.
Would the original motion maker like to amend their motion?
I amend the motion to include the Value Vision Homes LLC as the respondent.
I'll second the amended motion.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you very much. I've got an amended motion by Mr. Bach and a second by Ms. Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Ms. Googe, are we happy with that?
Are you happy?
Are we happy with that?
Oh, yippee.
Yippee. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, we're going to agenda item number 11, case number CER-24-00192. The estate of Elaine E. Trockey, 923 North Palm Drive, Southwest, Largo, Florida, 33770.
I'm standing in for Code Officer Raymond Schultz today.
Keep trying to trip me up. I keep looking and seeing your beautiful face instead of who's listening. All right, please.
This is not a homesteaded property. On August 26, 2024, Code Officer Raymond Schultz inspected the property located at the 923 North Palm Drive Southwest for violations pertaining to the storage of junk on the property and an inoperative vehicle. Upon inspection of the property, Officer Schultz observed that there was junk, trash, and debris being stored along the side of the property. Officer Schultz also observed that an inoperable Ford Taurus with expired license tags was present at the property. On September 5th, 2024, Officer Schultz re-inspected the property. The junk, trash, and debris had been removed. The inoperable vehicle was still present. A notice of violation was issued, posted at the property, mailed to the delisted property owner by certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. On November 27th, 2024, Officer Schultz re-inspected the property. It was determined that the inoperable vehicle's tags had not been corrected. This case was then referred to the Code Enforcement Board. Compliance can only be achieved when the tenant applies new tags to the license plate of the inoperative vehicle. The property was posted with the hearing notice on January 15th, 2025, mailed to the listed property owner by certified mail, regular mail, and posted in the lobby of City Hall. Staff recommends giving the respondent until February 20th, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends the Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $50 per day beginning on February 21st, 2025, until the property is brought into compliance with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $230,430.
Okay, thank you. No updates from anything on that?
Officer Schultz is part of the Army National Guard and has been called to active duty. So I had him get a chance before he left to find out if he's heard anything from the homeowner, but I don't think he has. So
I do notice they like to back them in so you don't notice the tag is expired.
Perfect. Okay, I'm looking to the chambers, seeing if there's anyone here to speak to this case. I'm seeing no one. Looking for either questions or a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Great.
I move in case number CER 24-00192 to find the respondent Elaine E. Trockey estate in violation of the City of Largo Code of Ordinances, Section 11-75 for the property located at 923 North Palm Drive, Southwest Florida, 33770, and to assess a fine of $50 per day beginning on February 21st, 2025, until compliance is achieved, with the fine not exceeding the just market value of $230,430, and to order the respondent to contact the Community Standards Division to arrange for a reinspection of the property to verify compliance with the board's order.
I'll second that.
Okay, I've got a motion by Ms. Hoskin and a second by Ms. Marsh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Agenda item number 13. Case number CE 2024-00771. Minnie Beck Estate, Joan Jones, Deborah Nelson, David Greer, John Greer, Sandra Rabe, William Strife, Cheryl Schwartz, also known as Cheryl Schwartz, also known as Shrell Schwartz, Dawn Vollmer, Robert Ellis, Richard Ellis, Roger Ellis. For the property located at 523 20th Street Northwest, Largo, Florida, 33770. I've lost the code officer involved on this case. I don't see it written on there.
Code Officer McMillan, I believe.
Okay.
That's
thank you.
correct.
Thank you, but I believe we have Officer Rank filling in.
Filling in again.
Thank you.
This is again not a homesteaded property. On July 5th, 2024, Code Officer McMillan inspected this property for code violations where it was observed to have overgrowth exceeding 12 inches in height and a broken front window with a jagged edge exposing the interior. On August 7th, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected the property and observed that the grass still has not been cut below 12 inches in height and the broken window remains broken and there has not been any contact with the property owners. On August 23rd, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected the property and the grass is still overgrown and the window remains broken. There has not been any contact with the property owners. Again, on September 12th, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected the property and observed that the grass still has not been cut 12 inches in height. The broken window remains broken and there's not been any contact from the property owners. On November 20th, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected the property and observed that there was no additional damage to the property after the two major storms that was visible, but the grass remains overgrown and the window is still broken. There has not been any contact from the property owners. On December 10th, 2024, Officer McMillan re-inspected this property and observed that there has been no change towards the condition of the property and there's been no contact from the property owners or representative about the property. Therefore, he's referring the case to the Code Enforcement Board. Compliance can only be achieved by cutting the grass below 12 inches in height and removing other overgrown weeds and consistently maintaining the grass and weeds below 12 inches. The broken window must be repaired or replaced and notify the Community Standards Division for reinspection. The property was posted with the hearing notice on January 15th, 2025, and mailed to the listed property owner by regular mail and certified mail, and also posted in the lobby of City Hall. At this time, staff recommends giving the respondent Beck Manette Estate, Jones, Joan, Nelson, Deborah, Greer, David, Greer, John, Rabi, Sandra, Strife, William Schwartz, Cheryl Vollmer, Don Ellis, Robert Ellis, Richard Ellis, and Roger until February 13th, 2025 to achieve compliance. If compliance is not achieved, staff recommends the Code Enforcement Board impose a fine of $100 per day beginning on February 14th, 2025 until the property is brought into compliance, with the fine not to exceed the just market value established by the Pinellas County Property Appraiser of $294,703. And like he stated in his report, he's had absolutely no contact from the homeowners.
These cases that where there's an estate, obviously, we know the homeowner must have died. And I guess these might be for PRs or her children or whatever. But is the property vacant? I mean, can you tell if there's somebody living there or not?
Yeah.
Property's been vacant for years.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. All right, that's all I.
And
wanted.
then just to give you a little further information, if you look up on your screen, this is the tax collector's page. And so there is a tax deed that person who purchased that tax, there is a sale that is scheduled to commence on February 19th is when it's scheduled for.
Thank you. Looking in the chambers, is there anyone to speak to this case here today? I'm seeing no one.
I do have a question.
Please.
You had the broken window here. We had another case earlier this afternoon. That they didn't have screens. And are homes required to have screens or what's the difference here? This home didn't have screens either.
If the windows are built and made to have screens, which will have the assembly for it, then they're required to have them. Not all windows have those assemblies to them. So usually you can see, well, here's one window with a screen. There's no screen here, or it's ripped or whatever. So if we see where we've got torn screens or some missing from one window, but not the others, or we do have a specific ordinance for the screens, the window screens.
Okay, gotcha.
I think it's when a window can open or close, it has to have a screen, whereas static windows don't require one.
Correct, because they don't open.
And again, I wouldn't force anybody to get screens, but that ordinance is more when you drive by a house and you see something that has, supposed to have a screen and it doesn't, or the screen is ripped
Well,
and they just leave it. It's like, okay, let's.
right,
fix
and
that.
there's an insect problem,
Right.
you don't want, you're right.
So this is
Okay.
scheduled to close on the 19th? Is that what I heard?
That's when the sale is to take place.
That's
So
when the
it'll be a
sale takes
judicial
place.
sale of the tax deed from the person who purchased that particular one. And apparently there's been many years that has not been paid. The sale from Pinellas County.
Anything else from the board? Looking for a motion.
Does it, any volunteers? I move in case number CE 2024-00771 to find the respondents, the estate of Minnie Beck, Joan Jones, Deborah Nelson, Deborah Greer, David Greer, John Rabe, Sandra Strife, William Schwartz, Cheryl, AKA Shriel Volmer, Dawn Ellis, Robert Ellis, Richard Ellis, and Roger Ellis are in violation of the City of Largo Code of Ordinances, sections COO 11-48, Comprehensive Development Code 18.2.5.C11 for the property located at 523 20th Street Northwest, Largo, Florida, 33770, and to assess a fine of $100 per day beginning on February 14th, 2025, until compliance is achieved with the fine not exceeding the just market value of $294,703, and to order the respondents to contact the Community Standards Division to arrange for a reinspection of the property to verify compliance with this board's order. And I would like to ask if I named everybody correctly or need to amend any of that.
Actually, I was wondering.
The names were different on the.
Yes.
agenda
The
than
names
they
are
were-
different.
Right, can you,
Isn't that Deborah Nelson, David, or is there Greer? Yeah, isn't
Right.
that Deborah Nelson, David Greer,
Greer.
John Greer,
Yeah.
Sandra Rabe? Because I think we got a Deborah Greer in there.
Right.
All right, I think I'll amend my motion to name the respondents correctly.
Well, you
Which-
want to, and the property appraiser is right above.
It's right there.
Okay. I will amend my motion to name the respondents as the estate of Minnie Beck, Joan Jones, Deborah Nelson,
Yes.
David Greer, John Greer, Sandra Rabe, William Strife, Cheryl Schwartz, AKA Shriel Schwartz, Dawn Volmer, Robert Ellis, Richard Ellis, and Roger Ellis.
Second.
Great. I've got a motion by Ms. Smith and a second by Mr. Bach. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I believe that is every agenda item on the agenda today. Is there any, am I missing anything? Is there anything else?
Unless Mr. Bergeron wishes to speak with you.
Mr. Bergeron, do you have anything for us?
Other business.
Beautiful,
Mr.
great.
Bergeron, can you tell us when City Hall might be completed?
Have you ever been asked that
I have a
before?
question.
I heard March or April. It's
Well,
really changed.
it doesn't look like.
So right now, the opening date is set for June 16th. June 16th is the date.
Are we as boards going to get to have a preview of that before it's open to the public?
Certainly, we should, right?
Yeah, we'll probably know more of that information as we get
As we
closer
get
to the
closer.
move-in date.
Mid-June.
Okay, if there's nothing else. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more thing,
question.
please.
I noticed on one of these, the one that had the most egregious violations, we put the language in that said per violation, which we typically don't do. So is that something we can do more frequently or?
Yeah, we leave it at the code officer's discretion, based on, like you said, the
Okay.
egregiousness of the fine, efforts the respondents make to correct it, and any, previous violations. Statute 162 does give us the option of having every violation go up to $250. We tend to be more lenient with our fines, where we sort of combine everything up to and cap it at $250. But we do have that option if we have multiple violations of actually asking each violation of going up to $250 per violation.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
made that motion, but I noticed that, but I had no problem with that.
That's
Beautiful.
happened more at the magistrate hearings and than here,
I think it's a nice incentive, especially for those.
the more egregious
yes.
violations.
Yes, it happens maybe once or twice a year. It's not something that we commonly use, but it is an option for those more, extreme or egregious cases.
Beautiful. Thank you for the clarification. If there's nothing else, meeting adjourned, 3:37.
Thank you.
Thank you.